I got angry.
Yeah.
And I went, boom.
It was just another day for the Kingen family. Amy and Andy, like so many parents, trusted the mini subby daycare to care for their precious twins, Ben and his sister. The morning of January 14th, 2009 started off without any red flags. Ben had been under the weather earlier in the week, but by that morning he seemed back to his usual self. Amy and Andy, relieved to see their son looking better, dropped off the twins and went about their day, fully expecting to pick them up later with nothing more than the usual stories of playtime and snacks.
I left at like 6:50.
So this was Wednesday morning, about
Yeah.
6:50, and you drive yourself into
Yes.
work? Okay, all right. Go ahead, just go
And
through your
well,
day.
I didn't get there till like 8:20.
Mhm.
That's when I clocked in.
And who was there when you got there?
Wendy, she's the head.
At the daycare, everything was routine. The children were engaged in their activities, the staff was attentive, and the day began to unfold just like any other. Ben played happily alongside his sister and the other children, showing no signs of the tragedy that would soon unfold. The workers at Mini Subby had no reason to suspect that anything was amiss. They followed their usual schedule, keeping the kids busy with various activities to ensure they'd sleep well later. But as the minutes ticked by, something began to change. What started as an ordinary day was about to take a dark and unexpected turn, one that would alter the lives of everyone involved.
Okay. What's the maximum amount of kids?
For right now, for the toddlers, the infants, it would be infant toddlers. It would be like a ratio of 4 for one teacher.
Okay, 4.
As the morning progressed, everything seemed to be going just fine. The kids were playing, and Ben was right there with them, smiling and enjoying his time. But then, around midday, something strange happened. Ben, who had been happily interacting with the other children, suddenly appeared pale and lethargic. Melissa, one of the daycare workers, noticed Ben falling asleep in his chair, something that wasn't entirely unusual, especially given his recent illness. But today was different. As she got closer, her concern grew. Ben's face was alarmingly pale, and when she tried to wake him, there was no response. Then something truly terrifying happened. As Melissa leaned in closer, she saw it orange foam slowly leaking from Ben's nose. Panic set in as the workers realized something was seriously wrong. This was no ordinary nap, and the quiet of the daycare was shattered in an instant.
And that it was just like, I was like, trying to make sure he was awake, and I didn't want to move anything just in case, if something did. And that's when Crystal,
What do you mean, just in case?
well, like, if anything, if he was sensitive, like, of any some sort, because as soon as I went over there, like, when the door was gone, and then when Crystal heard me,
Okay, how did Crystal hear you?
because she heard me saying Ben, Ben, and then I told her, I was like, can I get some help? And that's
Where
when
was
Angie walked
Crystal?
out.
Where was Crystal in the
She
hallway?
was by the front desk in the hallway.
And she could hear you all the way down the hall. How far is it?
Oh, not even. It was like the classroom where I went to go get my stuff. It was like, she was like right
Okay.
by the corner. And she
All right.
heard,
So she heard you go, Ben, Ben,
yeah.
and then what?
And then I went to the phone, and then she came running in as soon as possible.
Did you ever talk to anybody on the phone?
Yeah.
Who?
I heard, it was Beth, I believe.
Did you go on the intercom? Is that what you did? Or
I dialed the
Oh, you
number.
dialed?
Yeah.
what'd you dial?
To the front desk. And I
Okay.
told them that,
Is that like a 1, 2, 3-digit extension?
it was 2 digits.
2-digit?
And then I
What's
was
the
like
extension number?
10.
10. Okay.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, and I was like, can I get some more help? He's starting to, I see foam and just stuff coming through his nose.
And who are you saying that to?
To Beth.
Beth,
Yeah.
okay.
And Crystal Stucker, she picked up Ben immediately. We both reacted like within a second. And that's when Crystal was like, Beth, can you come in here? I need your help. And I was trying to get the kids,
Who said that?
Crystal.
Was she still in the room with Ben?
Yeah, she had Ben
In the room?
in the room.
And you were in there too?
Yeah.
Okay, and then she says, She yells, or what does she
No.
do?
Beth was right there too, coming.
Okay, so Beth was in the hallway, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Could
then-
Crystal see Beth from where she was at? No.
Well, she was like right there around the corner. She stuck her head out because the door was a little bit open.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when, as soon as she said that, I came running in the room.
Okay.
I got all the kids away from there immediately. She had been put them on the changing table and then like immediately did CPR right before Beth could even get on the phone and did 911.
Okay.
CPR was attempted, but Ben was unable to be resuscitated.
And then when we were, she was doing CPR, Beth was on the phone exactly with the paramedics when she was on the phone. And we did everything.
The situation rapidly escalated. Kaczynski's sister, Crystal, who also worked at the daycare, rushed into the room as soon as she heard the panic in Melissa's voice. Without hesitation, Crystal began performing CPR on Ben, her hands shaking with fear and desperation. The room was filled with tension as every second passed like an eternity. Other daycare workers stood by, watching in horror, praying for any sign of life from the little boy who had just been playing moments before. Despite Crystal's frantic efforts, Ben remained unresponsive. Melissa tried to hold it together, but the tears started to well up as the reality of the situation sank in. This wasn't just a minor scare. Ben's life was slipping away before their eyes, and they felt powerless to stop it. The sounds of CPR attempts, desperate breaths, and the muffled sobs of the staff filled the room. It was a scene of chaos and heartbreak. Minutes felt like hours as they continued trying to revive Ben, but nothing was working. The once lively and energetic toddler was now lying motionless, and the realization that they were losing him was overwhelming. The staff's devastation was palpable. How could a seemingly normal day turn into such a tragedy? Melissa and Crystal exchanged helpless looks, knowing that they had done everything they could, but it just wasn't enough. Ben's condition was critical, and despite their best efforts, the unthinkable had happened.
He, when I transferred all the kids on Monday, I had him because, like, I held him, and I noticed, he wasn't feeling good. He was, after when Gwendy left, she even said, you don't look good. So I picked him up, he was resting on my shoulder, and, like, just hanging on to me. And not even when I put the diapers and sheets on, he threw up all over me. Again, everything.
Did he come in Tuesday? No.
Because, yeah, when I left Monday, from what I heard, that he was, Mom came and got him, and not even, like, by the time she couldn't even get out of the door, because he started throwing up again. They had to come over the sink, and that's what I did. He got sick, and we don't know what was wrong with him.
Do you have kids? You married? Live alone or with mom and dad?
I live with my mom and dad, but then I've been staying with my boyfriend too, back and forth because of work.
Does the Apache address is that your parents'
Yeah,
address?
I've been staying there a lot though because
Where does your boyfriend live?
this plane. He was in a condominium. He's been back from the army for a year now.
What street is he live on? What's his
It's
address?
off. I don't know his address exact. I can find out though. He lives off of Dempster, Thacker, and
This
Graceland.
Plains? Yeah, I know who it is. Yeah. What's his name?
Will
William?
Yeah.
What's his last name?
Minetti,
What is it?
Minetti,
Spell.
MIN.
M-I-N?
ETTI,
What's his phone number?
847 708. I don't know.
We'll let you read it. It's probably in your phone, right? Okay.
Well, were all the girls at work yesterday? Did anyone call them sick? Everybody was there.
All right. We're going to take a short break. Let you kind of compose yourself a little bit too. And then we have a couple more questions to ask you. Okay? cold. Want some coffee or something?
No.
You don't like coffee?
Me neither.
Cappuccino.
Oh, please. I live on this. Okay, what I want to do is, and what we're talking about is, I just want to clarify some times, right around the time we started noticing a problem with Ben. Who was in the room, what time did this all start occurring? So if you can go over that with me one more time.
I was probably by myself for like at least like almost half a minute.
And that's when
Everything started happening. It was like around like
you were by
4.
yourself because Nancy,
She went to the kitchen real quick to drop the dishes.
to drop the dishes or to clean toys?
No, drop the dishes off.
Okay.
After hours of relentless and intense questioning, the pressure finally got to Melissa Kosinski. The interrogation had stretched well beyond the breaking point, and the detectives weren't letting up. Despite denying any wrongdoing 79 times, Melissa's resolve began to falter. Eventually, she confessed, but the confession was far from clear-cut. She admitted to being in the room with Ben when he started to lose consciousness, but she was adamant that she had never harmed him. The confession was murky, filled with contradictions and moments of confusion. Melissa insisted that she couldn't remember certain details, leaving investigators puzzled and frustrated. Was this a genuine admission of guilt, or was Melissa simply saying what she thought the detectives wanted to hear to make the relentless questioning stop? The confession, instead of bringing clarity, only deepened the mystery surrounding Ben's death. Questions began to arise about the tactics used during the interrogation. Was Melissa coerced into confessing something she didn't do? Her low verbal ache raised concerns about her ability to withstand the pressure of the intense questioning without becoming confused or intimidated. Legal experts and child welfare advocates started to question whether this confession could be trusted or if it was simply the result of a desperate woman trying to end a terrifying ordeal. As the confession spread through the community, it cast a long shadow over the case. The once clear-cut narrative that the investigators had hoped for now seemed riddled with doubt and uncertainty. Melissa's confession left the authorities with more questions than answers, and the case became a topic of heated debate. Was she truly responsible for Ben's tragic death, or had she become a scapegoat in a system more focused on closing the case than finding the truth? As the video draws to a close, it's clear that the story of what happened that day in the mini subby daycare is far from over. The confession that was supposed to bring resolution instead brought more questions, and the true nature of that fateful day remained a haunting mystery.
And it would make somebody look more guilty that they intended on hurting this person.
I had nothing to do with it.
I don't think that you intended on hurting him.
I never put my hands on that pastor.
No. But we need to know what happened to Ben that day. Because he's a 16-month baby, Melissa. And I don't think you're definitely not a mean person, but I have a son, and I swear to God, so many times I accidentally hit his head on stuff. Every time I walk through a freaking door, I swear to God, I hit his head. He falls down all the time. My baby's 8 months old, so I know he hits his head back, hits a chair. There's always accidents. It doesn't make me a bad person at all. And if someone was supervising him or accidentally hit his head with something, it's not going to make you a bad person, but we need to get to the bottom of this. It happens all.
I'm like trying to, but like the only person that was with me at the time before all this was Nancy, so you would probably get to talk to her more.
Well, someone's talking to her right now.
Yeah, but I never every time I would change his diaper,
Yeah.
I treat his head, make sure he doesn't hit
Sure.
the changing table.
Right.
So
And we know you're a good employee, and we know there's never been no incidents with you in
I
the
never
past
had no
or complaints.
nothing.
So we're not saying that you're the type of person that would do this, but we need to know what happened to him. We really do. And I promise you that the truth is the best thing in this situation. You're a good person. I can tell that. If you weren't a good person, I wouldn't even want to talk to you because we have so much medical evidence in this case. Well, what I'm saying is, it happens every day. When you're dealing with kids, they're just rambunctious, they jump around, they're hard to control. And believe me, it's very hard for me, just taking care of one kid, not alone 8 kids, or
Yeah.
whatever, by yourself. You shouldn't have probably been by yourself. And I know it could be very stressful. But we have to let the parents know, we have to put some closure, we have to get to the bottom of this. If something happened, please let us know. If his, did you hit his head by accident with something?
No, nothing.
There's no,
Did somebody else hit his head with something?
You would probably maybe talk to Nancy sometimes because sometimes when she would pick him up, sometimes like and then put him on a chair or something, his head would hit the back of the chair. So that's the
this
only
is something
thing.
though that would have happened because of what the medical examiner told us. Is this something that on the onset of this injury, that's when he would have lost consciousness, which is when you were in the room. So it couldn't have been something that happened hours before, because this kind of injury to his head, he wouldn't have been able to function, and that's why he went into unconsciousness. And from what you're telling us, you were in the room
He
for at
crawled,
least 10
yeah.
minutes before this happened.
And he was crawling and everything. He didn't run into anything. I swear. I was watching him and everything.
Would
I
you
had my
ever,
eyes-
did you ever, because I know as a parent and, you know, as being a policeman, I encounter a lot of people that sometimes they lose control with the kid and they give them a little smack in the head. The thing is we know
I
that
haven't seen
this thing like this wasn't a little smack.
Yeah.
That's
No.
why we're thinking like, you know, could have been an accident. Someone could have dropped him. Someone could have hit him head on the wall. Not saying intentionally trying to do it, but that's what could have happened probably to cause this type of injury. And that's what we're looking for. And this would have had to happen right away. You said you were with them for over 10 minutes before this happened. He would have been pretty much going into
In the aftermath
unconsciousness
of
within
Melissa
10
Kosinski's
minutes.
confession,
This
the case
happened.
left an
I don't
indelible
know,
mark
someone
on
walked in
everyone
and you covered
involved.
for someone.
Ben's
You're not
parents were
telling us.
devastated,
No, it was
grappling
me and
with the
Nancy.
unimaginable
I just
loss
talked to
of their
Nancy, I
young
swear.
son.
But
The
you
mini
know when,
subby daycare,
was your
once a
sister in there
trusted
before
place
you
for
were
many
calling for help
families,
at all,
now
Crystal?
found itself under the
She
weight of
wasn't?
intense scrutiny
Like
and
when
public
I called,
outrage.
when she came
The
in,
staff,
and
who
then
had
she
always
put,
seen themselves as
Ben on the
caregivers,
changing
were now
table.
viewed with
I-
suspicion, their reputations forever tarnished.
When you called for help,
Despite
when you said,
Melissa's
"Ben,
confession,
when you were
doubts
treatment,
continued
was
to
your sister
cloud the
involved?"
case. Legal experts and observers began to question the validity of her
sister,
statements,
heard
particularly
anything
given the
like that?
circumstances
She
under
was
which they were made. Melissa had initially denied any wrongdoing 79
you
times before
cover up
finally
for your
breaking
sister
down
if she
after
did hurt
hours
somebody?
of relentless interrogation.
Even if it
This
was an
raised
accident.
concerns about whether her
You would probably
confession
want to
was
tell the
genuine
truth
or if
so
it
she
was the
wouldn't get in
product of
trouble,
coercion
right?
driven
And
by
if you
exhaustion
think like
and
a
fear.
logical person,
Further
which I know you
investigations
do,
revealed
it's very
inconsistencies in the
inconsistencies.
timeline of
If
events
someone
and
like
in the
me,
medical
for instance,
evidence. Some
is watching a
experts
kid trying to take
suggested
care
that
of
the
a kid,
injuries Ben
and
sustained
I
could not have been inflicted
accidentally
in the
don't
way
depend
Melissa
on the kid to
described,
die or
casting
get
further
hurt, but
doubt on the
something happens to
confession.
the kids.
The media picked up on
Could be
these
a logical
uncertainties,
person would
fueling a
probably think
debate that
maybe
spread
that
throughout the
person,
community and beyond.
um,
As the legal
shouldn't get into that
proceedings
much trouble
continued,
because
the
they didn't
question
intend that
remained,
to happen.
was
The
justice
detectives
truly
keep
served?
insinuating that
Ben's
if
family
Kosinski
wanted
admits to
closure,
hurting
but
Ben
the lingering
accidentally,
doubts
she
made
will
it
not be in
difficult
as
for
much trouble.
anyone to feel
In reality,
confident in
as
the
soon as she
outcome.
admits
The
anything
case
of the sort,
highlighted the
they will start pressing
complexities
her
of the
to admit
justice
that it
system,
was on
where the
purpose.
pursuit of
Is
a
that a
quick
fair
resolution
assumption?
can sometimes
Yes.
overshadow the quest for
So,
truth. In
I
the
don't want you
end,
to put
the
up
story of
walls
Ben and the tragic events at
around
Mini
yourself
Subby
and
Daycare
try to-
remained a haunting reminder of
because
how
you're
fragile
scared
life
not
can
to tell us
be
the truth,
and
because
how
the law
easily the
will
truth can
hurt you
become
because
obscured.
it'll make
The
it
case
look like
continued to be a
you're
topic of
involved, but it was
discussion
an
long
accident.
after
She
the
would've came out
courtroom
and told us
battles had
right away.
ended, with many
Because we know,
wondering
because,
if the full
she's an
story
intelligent
had ever
person.
truly been
She would have
uncovered.
said, you know what, this is what happened, but she didn't say nothing right away, right at the beginning when this happened, because you got scared. But when we went and talked to her, she came clean. She told us the truth. She told us she got scared at the time. She didn't know what to do. She's never been in a situation like this. And she told the detectives what happened. That's all.
I can't even imagine how he hit his head or who hit his head. Like, Because, I mean, it's hard to, like, you know, I had my eyes on everybody, and he was in a wide open space, and I never, like, didn't do anything to him towards his head, nothing. But like I said, Nancy was in there. Maybe Nancy probably accidentally
Okay.
did something.
Okay. And that's what we're getting to. All right.
Yeah.
If Nancy did something, and you have knowledge of that, you're helping us, you're helping yourself, that's phenomenal. But if you're being reluctant in saying something about Nancy, then you really are accepting part of the responsibility. That's what the perception is going to be. So if Nancy did something inadvertently, and you feel that maybe a little guilty about not reporting it right away or not taking some kind of action, don't. You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor. You don't have X-ray vision. Kids fall or kids hit their heads 1,000 times. You know, I've got 2 kids, and the first one we treated like a China doll because we thought she would break. The second one would take tumbles all the time and and as you have more kids, you sort of grow immune and used to those types of injuries. If you saw something, and I'm starting to believe that maybe you did see something and you didn't take immediate action, that's not on you. You're not a doctor. But you need to tell us what you saw. And if it was Nancy, then we need to know that. That's very important. You're helping us. You're assisting us. That's going to benefit you, not just right now, but it's going to benefit you with your career and everything else that you came forward. You're a scared young lady. You've got 2 detectives. You're in a place where you don't know what's what. I would be reluctant to say things too. But you got to trust us. We're not here to condemn you. We're not here to put you in jail. We're here to come to the conclusions of what happened to a 16-month-old child. And if you have knowledge of that, you need to tell us. You need to tell us. You need to accept the fact that another person did this, and that's fine. But don't just speculate. You were there. You saw what happened. What happened? What happened?
Sometimes.
Not sometimes.
I know.
What happened yesterday or Wednesday? What happened Wednesday? What happened? You know something happened. You know something bad happened. You know something real bad, and you probably stood there going, I wonder if that's as bad as it looks.
With Nancy, like, sometimes, like, when she handles, like, when Ben usually cries, I'm saying this, she probably did it, like,
Not
picks him up.
probably. We need exactly.
My back was turned, so she.
What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. It was just.
So where are you recalling
Nancy,
a moment when your back was turned?
When, if Ben was crying, because I don't remember much, I'm still in shock. Like,
Right. Listen, I know you are, okay? Even worse than not telling the truth is half-truths, okay? It's half-truths. You know, you've got over this. Look, you're an adult, and you're a smart person. You're not stupid. You don't have memory loss. You're not in medical shock, okay? What you are is in denial, and you're thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to accept that this is happening. I don't want to accept that he's dead. I don't want to be anywhere. If you had a choice right now, you'd be as far away from us as possible in this whole situation. If you had a choice, you wouldn't have come into work Wednesday. You wouldn't have been there. But you know what? You were there. You were a victim of circumstance, right? At your office.
in the lodge.
Okay.
And at the time, I told him, I was just like, and I read it, I was like, and I told my boss, I pulled her into the office and I told her, I'm like, you know, how come my sister didn't get this or whatever, because she did CPR.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time CPR was going on, I pushed all the kids out. Maybe I told her, I'm like, I'm clueless. Why did I get this? Why am I? Seems like I did something wrong.
What did it say?
That someone called DCFS on me.
Kayasinski is growing more desperate. She is willing to imply her coworker is somehow responsible and is even upset that her sister has not been questioned as closely.
like saying that it could have been my fault for a fractured. Like he didn't specify what happened.
Let me tell you right away, that's just something they have to do because it's a child care facility.
I understand
Okay,
that.
number two, if you lied to them, for whatever reason, just say you did, it doesn't matter one iota. Now's the time to come clean.
Yeah,
we're the law.
Yeah, we don't share.
We don't give a shit what you told them.
I understand.
It's never going to make you look bad. You might have been
know.
a little confused and shaken up yesterday. So whatever you told them, I don't want it to in any way affect what you're going to tell us. Don't try to be consistent with what you told them.
I am. I'm swearing to you. I am not lying. I am swearing on my aunt's grave and my uncle's that I did not do anything to fracture his skull, and I did not see anything.
Mm-hmm. Did you go out with anyone from work after work since this incident happened?
No, I
including
went
your
straight
sister?
home. I went straight home.
Did you talk to Nancy after this on the phone?
No, I gave her
outside
my
of work?
number. I gave her my number.
Did she call you?
No, she didn't. I told her to give me a call if she needs to. She never called me.
Okay. Did you ever see Nancy handle the kids roughly?
No, when she would put them down sometimes, she wouldn't support their head sometimes, and she would get a little intimidated and aggravated with the children because they would be crying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens, and yeah, I get
Sure,
aggravated
I
a
get
lot.
aggravated at my own son.
And of course they're gonna cry, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please, where's your binky? But when sometimes she would pick them up, sometimes she would have them as, sometimes not handle a child that very well. And I know she has 2-3 kids. She has a toddler of her own that's in the other bigger
It doesn't
room.
mean nothing. It
No,
doesn't
I
mean
know.
they're going to be better with kids,
Oh,
or
I
it
know.
could be worse. We deal with people who kill their own kids.
I know, and she would get frustrated.
I get frustrated. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
But and how she would sometimes pick them up. She wouldn't support them. She'd just pick them up and hold them as they're facing towards you, and hold them like that.
Was Ben sleeping during his nap hour
Yeah.
when Nancy was there?
Yeah.
Was she mad at him and all that day?
No.
No one was mad at him?
He probably woke up around 2.
Who's the oldest kid in the room? How old?
It would have to be let's see. No.
Over
I
3
know.
years old?
No, if they were over 2 years old, they would have been in another room.
Okay.
And we have another set of twins, but they're gone for the month. They're the oldest. They would be the next move over.
If you were involved in this in any way, would you tell us if it was an accident? You would understand that
Yes,
we're not
I
out to
would
get you
complain.
and put you in jail. That's not, people think of police and they get scared. We're just out to get the truth of the matter. How about the family with their recovery through this thing and bring this case to a closure? We don't think that you went in there with a baseball bat and hit this kid over the head. We've never said that. Because if you're that type of person, we don't even want to talk to you. We're going to use all of our evidence and try to prove it and put someone like you away. But we don't think you're that type of person. We think this could have been either someone getting real frustrated or an accident. The last thing I want, since you're a good person, I don't want you to cover up for anybody.
I won't.
There's a certain law for covering up. It's called concealment of a homicide. Now, just because it might be called a homicide, like my partner said, that doesn't mean someone intended on killing him. It just means, if someone gets hit by a car, that's actually, a homicide until the coroner has an inquest and they rule it an accidental death. It doesn't mean it's an accident. But there is a charge for someone who intentionally and knowingly lies to detectives during an investigation where it's classified as a possible homicide, and it's not a nice charge. So I would hate to find out later that you're trying to protect your sister or Nancy.
No, I
Because I
yeah.
guarantee you right now that they're talking to detectives, and they're going to know right away who's guilty and who's not.
While the others are being interviewed, neither one was in the room with Kalyasinski when Ben was allegedly injured. The most they could do would be to tell the detectives if they had ever seen Kalyasinski being rough with a child.
I never, ever I would cover up for anybody, not even for a death.
If you did something that was an accident, though,
I would say something.
you're smart enough to know that you didn't mean to do it, right? If you lost your temper and maybe cracked someone, would you tell us?
Yeah.
You would? Have you ever thrown a kid against a wall?
No.
Have you ever hit a kid's head against anything? Never?
Never.
Did you ever hit Ben?
No. I've known them since they were really little. And when I first started subbing, when I first started in January, I went over there to sub. That's where I first saw them, the twins. They were still babies.
What are the other workers going to say about you, how you handle the kids?
They'll say that I handle them very well. I don't.
Right. Do you get aggravated easy, or do you?
No, not really. I've never seen anything like that ever. And I would definitely come clean and say if I did see anything, I would say something. I would. I don't hide anything. I don't cover up for anybody.
Were you out with your sister Wednesday or Thursday night?
No.